A lovely good evening today, the 8th of September 2021. To present Camnet TV main news, my name is Jeffrey Siambo. Top stories in the news tonight. A cabinet of few vulnerable citizens places HH on the microscope. A clergyman advises all those who offered false election prophecies to publicly apologize. IT expert endorse formation of Ministry of Science and Technology. In international news, Guinea coup makers name army governors, promise unity government. And in sports news, FIFA set to reveal more details on holding World Cup tournament every 2 years.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue The Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Hello once again, another news in detail. Power outages have unsettled the residents of Solwezi district in northwestern province. The residents complained that there have been unnecessary power cuts, yet the power utility firm ZESCO has not been notifying its customers. Mr. Ronald Mulenga says Kazomba and Messenger are among compounds highly affected by load shedding. Details in this.
Zambia has an installed electricity generation capacity of 2,800 megawatts, of which 80% is hydro-based. In July this year, former President Edgar Lungu commissioned a 750 megawatts Kafue Gorge Lower Hydro Power Plant that cost 2.3 billion kwacha, which was said to have completely ended load shedding problems. In recent weeks, most parts of the country have been experiencing power outages. Most of the power cuts have been attributed to maintenance works, but due to lack of communication in some instances, people are of the view that the country may be experiencing load shedding. In northwestern province of Solwezi district, power cuts have been frequent, prompting the residents to wonder what could be the reason.
Nembomba na wewe udinga malaiti yonse so panono 3 minutes ya 5 minutes 15 minutes nishako kora sana tatureka mtende kuno baturoreka pa malaiti turedishanya pa malaiti inchito nishvatipera ko inchito twara ikara shani ubuteko turoreka shani ko kuno kusolwezi ifo turedishanya sana malaiti yokwete kuno nachepa katsingana short load shedding nganishi ngamimananga nayi kama katishi October tairafika twaraikara shani turoreke sheniko.
Electricity is not a luxury but a catalyst to income generating activities in various communities such as welding, hair salon and barber shop, among others. Hence, without electricity, many people suffer the consequences.
I'm running a stationery shop, and with the frequent going of power, I don't know how I'm going to run this shop, and it is now regular for the past, I don't know if it's 2 weeks. Power has been doing it, comes and goes, and how do they expect me to be productive in that way and pay some other rentals and offer the money to other needs that I want?
It's their mandate to communicate to their consumers, their customers, each time they want to load shed, each time they are trying to work on anything. But there is no communication, they are simply quiet, sign of, it's like they are not considering that we are also partners in electricity development. So in this particular area, we are taking that this is deliberate. They want the new government to fail of which, if they should remember that one of the reasons why the previous government has been voted out, it is because of this. Please, the regional manager, can you organize your team properly? Can you communicate? Let us work as educated people. I believe, Zesco, these are learned and educated people that know how to organize things. When there's something, people plan. People live in a world of planning. How do you get from day one, day two, without communication to anyone?
By broadcast time, our efforts to get a position of ZESCO could not materialize. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
An environmentalist, Robert Chimambo, has challenged President Hakainde Hichilema to re-gazette the controversial Forest Reserve number 27. In 2019, President Lungu signed SI number 62 of 2017, degazetting Forest number 27, a move that raised a lot of concern from stakeholders and environmental campaigners. Mr. Chimambo insists that the Forest Reserve is a water recharge area for Lusaka and is a source for the Chalimbana River. We have more in this report.
Forests provide habitat for thousands of species and support life, but approximately 300,000 square miles of forests are lost per year due to deforestation. This is not just a tragedy, it's a plague on the planet that could spell disaster for all life on Earth in the future. The subject of Forest Reserve number 27 was among pressing national issues in the year 2019-2020. When the land was degazetted, prominent government officials from the three arms of government, being the judiciary, executive, and parliament, mostly aligned to the former governing party, the Patriotic Front, shared plots without advertising the land in question. Government institutions like the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, and the Water Resources Management Authority, WAMA, had no say over the matter despite understanding the magnitude of the issue and what could have been the reason for the silence. Your guess is as good as mine. The United Party for National Development, UPND, while in opposition, made some assurances.
Eminent people who have benefited from forest number 27 to own up and give it back. Because let me tell you now, everything that you're doing is an exercise in futility. On the first day of being sworn in, we are coming to demolish those houses down there in 2021. That's what's going to happen. When we come into power, in 2021, we are coming with bulldozers to drop all the houses that you are building there at the aquifer.
An environmentalist, Robert Chimambo, never ceased to talk about Forest Reserve number 27, knowing its importance.
The laws are very clear. You have laws that manage. The key for all those forest reserves is water, isn't it? Without water, we've no. So the old guys for colonial through Akaunda, they created forest reserves, especially where you have sources of river. Kaleni Hill, Luangwa, Kafue, and Chalimbana River comes from that forest reserve. It's 1,700 hectares. But not only that, that provided water, rainwater harvesting.
Mr. Chimambo reminds President Hakainde Hichilema to act on Forest Reserve number 27.
Forest Reserve 27, of course, I have explained its importance. It is to a source of Chalimbana, but also for groundwater. You know, Lusaka, we are in groundwater. So it doesn't require PhD. Ento ya mumana, it supplies groundwater. So the president simply has to regazette it.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Zambians for Unity, Peace and Development, ZUPED, is concerned about the gender disparities and non-engagement of young people, especially those below 35 years, in the appointment of high-ranking positions so far. Organization President Ronnie Jerry notes that some of the names that have been appointed to cabinet, such as that of the Ministry of Health, have been cited previously in other scandals, hence wonder how they have bounced back. Mr. Jerry says it is shocking to see some names served in the previous government be appointed. He says ZUPED believes that the UPND alliance has a lot of credible and trusted people who are ready to serve this nation diligently, other than some names that have been appointed.
We are happy that His Excellency has appointed youthful cabinet ministers, though not young, but we still feel he could have done better by adding on young people who are maybe 35 years and below, because he himself was in his late 20s, and if I'm not mistaken, early 30s, when he was given an opportunity to negotiate with the government of the Republic of Zambia in privatizing some of the companies that we talk about today. We further noted that the new Dawn government has created new ministries which were not in the previous regime. These being the Ministry of Technology and Science, the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise, and the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. These ministries are crucial to the development of this country. For example, Ministry of Green Economy comes at a time when Zambia and the rest of the world are grappling with challenges of climate change, which has affected food security. We hope that this ministry will help to alleviate challenges that climate change comes with. The Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise has come at a time when Zambians now want to be entrepreneurs. We hope this ministry will help upcoming businessmen and women, especially the young people, to thrive in their businesses.
Stakeholders have expressed divergent views over the cabinet appointments by Republican President Hakainde Hichilema on Tuesday. In an interview with Camnet News, Civil Society Constitutional Agenda CISCA chairperson Ms. Judith Mulenga has expressed disappointment that there is no ministry dedicated to children's issues, thereby sidelining children's rights. And Third Liberation Movement Party President Mr. Enoch Tonga says the cabinet is not lean as promised. He has also described some ministers as recycled. We have more in this report.
Divergent views have emerged from stakeholders over the cabinet announced by Republican President Hakainde Hichilema Tuesday. While some have welcomed the cabinet, others have charged that they have been let down as they were expecting more, especially that announcement of the cabinet seemed to have delayed. Civil Society Constitutional Agenda CISCA chairperson Ms. Judith Mulenga has welcomed the introduction of new ministries such as small and medium enterprises, saying they are a sign of the government's commitment to reviving the economy. She, however, says the association is of the view that children's rights have been sidelined as there is no specific ministry set apart to look at children's issues.
You cannot have the youth without having a ministry focusing on children. Yes, most of the services, education, health, children you use, but we need a separate ministry that is looking under the rights and welfare of children. So this cabinet is not child friendly.
Christian Coalition President Professor Charles Mwape has also added his voice.
There is experience and those that will learn from others. Zambian people expect change of approach in the new Dawn administration.
Third Liberation Movement Party President Mr. Enoch Tonga has charged that the United Party for National Development UPND government has not delivered on the lean cabinet they promised.
We don't see anything smaller in terms of lean or you can say reduced number of ministries. What we are looking for as Third Liberation Movement is not more than 10 ministries.
However, UPND Alliance spokesperson Mr. Leslie Chikuse has defended the appointment of some ministers who served in previous governments. He further states that the UPND Alliance President's Council has endorsed the new ministers.
If you are going to recycle a person who is delivering, I think that a person who is useful, then there's nothing wrong. The most important thing is to look at the sustainable goals, whether they can be achieved with the team.
Stakeholders are expectant that the new appointed cabinet will deliver to people's satisfaction, as that has been the message of the UPND government. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Democratic Party Vice President Judith Kabemba says the United Party for National Development UPND government has failed to live up to its promise of supporting more women in decision-making positions. Speaking to Camnet TV, Ms. Kabemba has also expressed disappointment that various interest groups such as the differently abled seem to have been sidelined in the cabinet. She has called on President Hakainde Hichilema to carry out an introspection of his cabinet and ensure that women and other minority groups are adequately represented.
The president has the power through the Constitution. Article 68 of the Constitution of Zambia empowers the president to nominate up to 8 members of parliament. We expected the president to use Article 68, sub-Article 2B, and nominate the youths, the women, and various interest groups, using Article 69 as well. So today, at least the president should have nominated even 2 youths and include them in his cabinet. We also expected that the president, using Article 69, was going to include the special abled people. We have not seen any special abled person in the cabinet. And yet, it was a UPND that stood vehemently against Bill 10. And they said there were laws in this country that supported the president to include the special abled.
Governance activist Louis Mwape has commended President Hakainde Hichilema for adding more ministries to cabinet and replacing some. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Mwape says the move is strategic and cardinal as it shows the potential of transforming the country. Mr. Mwape has also noted the need to look at how the functions of this ministry will be comprehended by the existing ministers.
The president for additional ministries that have been added to the cabinet portfolios. I think we were very, very strategic, and also it tells the story why there was a delay, because I think alignment of the ministries was very, very, very cardinal. But I think we need to also, as the alignment of ministries has been done, I think it will also be important to look at how some of the functions will be absorbed by the existing ministries. For example, the Ministry of Religious Affairs can be a directorate under the Ministry of Community Development. Similarly, the Ministry of Traditional Affairs can also be developed a directorate under the Ministry of Community Development. So I think what we may also need, if they will be elevated, could be situations where we add, like for example, what we had for National Development Planning, where we had 2 permanent secretaries. One permanent secretary was in charge of evaluation, and one permanent secretary was in charge of National Development Planning. So the same could be done for these ministries that have been left out.
A Lusaka-based information and technology expert has endorsed the newly formed Ministry of Technology and Science, saying it is timely considering the necessity of technology in governance. In an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Dr. Collins Kachaka reveals that Zambia has what it takes in terms of skills and competencies that can build the national economy through technology. He has since advised the ministry to engage competent people to foresee the growth of the sector. Here's a report.
The information and communication technology sector has so far grown following the establishment of a national ICT policy which regulates the telecom sector in Zambia. Through the Minister of Transport and Communication, in collaboration with ZICTA, the government is actively involved in providing opportunities which include provision of retail fiber optic, mobile and internet service providers, software development and ICT parks. With the introduction of Ministry of Technology and Science, which will specifically deal with all technology advances in the country, a Lusaka-based information and technology expert, Dr. Collins Kachaka, has endorsed the development, saying it is high time that Zambia gave much attention to science and technology as an anchor of all other sectors.
The strategic ministry, especially in this time and age, as Zambia, if we want to build and develop the economy, we need to put science and technology in the center. The technology must affect all other sectors, all other industries. We need to get, especially ICT, put it in the middle. Then we see how IT should affect agriculture. It's called e-agriculture. We need a blueprint of e-agriculture. How do we apply this IT in agriculture sector? Okay, then our sector will develop.
Dr. Kachaka since urged that competent people should be embraced in the system to provide proper guidance.
From here, Zambia, here we can't, because we are failing to use our own people because of tribe, because of regionalism, you know. We exclude our own people, you know. May we embrace everybody now. May we now embrace everybody. May we throw away the issue of tribe. We are one tribe. Our tribe is Zambia. Whether you are Bemba, you are Bisa, you are Mambwe, you are Rubale, you are Tonga, you are Lenje, we are one people. May we embrace people with skills, whoever they are, and the country will develop, especially in the area of science and technology.
The government has continued its support for networking of electronic services and applications by promoting e-commerce, e-agriculture, e-health, e-education and trade promotion programs for goods and services. Now with the Minister of Technology and Science, the future looks bright indeed. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A development analyst has called for a refocused vision driven by leadership substance to achieve the optimum development of the country. Dr. Charity Musamba has stated that inasmuch as leaders in various portfolios are set in place, what is required of them is much more than politics but result-driven outcomes. She said this during an exclusive interview with Camnet TV on Wednesday.
Developing a country like Zambia can never be one man's show, but a collective contribution by well-meaning Zambians. It is said, everything rises and falls on leadership. A development analyst, Dr. Charity Musamba, has charged that leaders should demonstrate substance leadership if the country is to achieve optimum development.
I want to emphasize that I think what we also need to stress all the time is that we should have at cabinet level a group of women and men, and I hope it to be gender balanced, that are able to deliver in line with the expectations of the citizens. And that is what we want. And I think the recent history clearly shows that once people begin to perceive a leadership as failing to deliver on developmental goods and services, immediately the citizens detach themselves from that particular leadership. So I think it's not just an issue of bringing together individuals or characters that are of basically public presentation, but I think emphasis should be, are they able to perform and deliver on results? Second point is we should also have people at cabinet level that can give exemplary conduct as senior public officials. Again, what we saw in the recent past was a decline in proper conduct amongst people at that level. So that was really not providing a good direction, especially that, you know, as a minister, you are at the apex of a very important public institutions called ministries. So first and foremost, these should be figures or individuals that can help to support and motivate our technocrats, especially at ministerial level, to perform effectively.
Meanwhile, Dr. Musamba has further questioned the basis on which Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprise is formed.
Of creating a ministry that specifically looks at the small and medium enterprises. In this case, one would also thought of just enhancing or expanding the current Ministry of Commerce and Industry's focus on this, than creating totally a separate ministry. I think when we talk about small and medium enterprises, it's around commerce and business issues, so it didn't really need a separate ministry. But maybe we needed to enhance, expand, and prioritize the current Ministry of Commerce focus on small, medium, and small and medium enterprises.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Christian Nation Forum chairperson Israel Chelelwa has called on the pastors and all those who made false prophecies during the just-ended general election to apologize publicly for misleading the country. Prior to the just-ended general election, the country witnessed men and women of God making prophecies in favor of the Patriotic Front's presidential candidate Edgar Lungu that he was going to win the poll. Bishop Chelelwa says now that President Lungu did not win the election, it is only advisable that the pastors who made false prophecies apologize to avoid bringing the name of the church into ridicule.
The just-ended August 12 general election, just like previous polls, was never short of surprises. The church was divided and the voice of reason was painted black by some politicians. And for the first time in the history of this Christian nation, people witnessed the unthinkable, such as the coming of Christians for a particular candidate, while the Ministry of Religious Affairs struggled to be relevant. Political maneuvers contaminated the church to the extent of compelling some clergymen to make prophecies in favor of candidates to influence the people to vote for their preferred contenders. Most of them declared President Edgar Lungu as the winner.
We are endorsing the candidature of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Lungu because that's what our members in the entire country are actually saying.
The prophecies were made in public with confidence, but certainly no one knows God's plans.
I make a decree from this altar. If you don't reverse what you did on Friday, you never enter State House. Your party will be rejected. You will never sit on the throne.
Again, concerning the nation of Zambia, 2021, it is Edgar Lungu. The Lord says there are some who began with him in 2016. They will not be with him in this new administration. Some will be removed, some will be fired, some will be replaced in his cabinet with technocrats. A new Zambia arising.
I want to send a very, very clear message to President Hakainde Hichilema of the UPND party. I want to let him know that this is not his time to rule. He is not the president of this country. His Excellency.
But in the end, Judge Esau Churu declared Hakainde Hichilema as the 7th Republican president. Telling lies goes against biblical principles, and the Christian Nation Forum chairperson Israel Chelelwa believes it is about time they equally publicly apologize to the nation.
Ability to apologize, it means that the pronouncement that we made was not God-given, and the prophecy that we made was not God-given. And so we are calling upon men and women who may have made those pronouncements. Since the pronouncements were made publicly, we are challenging them to bring repentance and also to apologize publicly to the nation and to the people that were intended to benefit from those prophecies. False prophecies are very destructive in terms of one's faith and also understanding of how God operates. And so we are challenging you as fellow servants of the Lord to apologize, because you did miss it very much. HH is our president today, and President Lungu has not bounced back in power.
Bishop Chelelwa also shared his views on the cabinet appointments made by President Hakainde Hichilema.
We also want to commend President Hakainde for beginning to appoint the cabinet, and we trust that the men and women that are appointed will watch out on abuse of office, abuse of power, and abuse of privilege, which leads to corruption in some cases and also mismanagement of resources and other vices. And so we want to commend the men and women and congratulate them who have been appointed, and pray that they will use their office, their power, and their privilege to do good for Zambia.
The church must be seen to stand for the truth and build, and must never be seen to divide or destroy. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema has thanked the people of Eastern Province for voting for him in the just-ended 2021 general election. President Hichilema says he is glad for the many votes and support received from the people of Eastern Province, which ushered him in and the UPND government into office. Local Government Minister Garen Kombo, who is also Mazabuka Central Member of Parliament, was in Petauke District to deliver the message of President Hichilema to thank the people of Eastern Province for turning up in large numbers to vote for the UPND in the August 12, 2021 general election. Meanwhile, independent Petauke Central Member of Parliament Emmanuel Banda has vowed to support and rally behind United Party for National Development UPND President Hakainde Hichilema in promoting One Zambia, One Nation. Mr. Banda has also called upon the UPND leadership to welcome and embrace new members who want to join the ruling party. At the same meeting, about 61 Patriotic Front members led by Msanzala Constituency Youth Chairman Joseph Lungo have defected to the ruling UPND.
Kupita muli imwe vano muna by election akaenda kamba kuti na Eastern Province yonse uongezikomo kuti vanapanga banapasa mavoti yoenela olo sina kwanise kunkana na ma MP vambiri kuno ku Eastern Province pamene aba baviri wakuchipata Ruben Mtolo na wakumambwe ku Malambo constituency bamene abo baviri banasegula chiseko because it is the first time for UPND to have members of parliament in Eastern Province. Temba kuti tibwerere masiku ya kaunda ya One Zambia, One Nation. Ozati mukaona ine magamba taona mutonga kamba taona muntu muzatu chivukwa mulungu pamela natipanga mulungu tapanga mistake yai. Constituency Development Fund ndarama za ziko zamani wanali kutupasa 1.6 million zinanguva pia kuwenze kugawana hakaenda kambati za Afrika $1 million.
Homa ilipo pamozi na sio wa independenti kisa wenzele pamozi komatirie kambe kuti tachoka ku independenti lomba za certificate yayi komatufuna tikatirire boma tione kuti vati ilete vitukuko tiendele pamozi so apatlakita na zanja vinkale pamozi lakini nzela kwa emulakwirani koma malo mwonse mumujani kuti neyo nuwauja tata pano kuti tonse wala mayuti azimayi azibambo enzela kwa tata ni kuti pepani wakululukireni zoni muwakululukire walandireni wonse kuti chipani cha president chikule
moja zapo soko ni kwa soko ni kwa tuku kasipa mkwambili naona kusoka mandharifu na mayusi wasauka mayusi hawa kuliye tuku kukumbo wasi kumsazama usiwesi
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour.
Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Camnet TV turns 5. We are excited to be the best community Christian TV channel within Zambia and across the world. With our programming for all age groups, talk of sermons, movies, kids programs, music, talk shows, developmental programs, and our unbiased, factual, and balanced news. To you, our viewers, we are saying thank you for being part of this journey. Happy 5th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with Camnet News. Emeralds and Semi-Precious Stones Mining Association of Zambia President Victor Kalesha has urged the new Minister of Mines and Minerals, Paul Kabuswe, to be consultative if he's in highlighting the full picture of what is pertaining in the industry. Speaking to Camden News, Mr. Kalesha states that for a long time now, small-scale miners in Zambia have faced challenges in accessing empowerment, hence hindering them from developing in this sector. He adds that the association has brought such issues to the attention of the Ministry of Mines in the past, but government has to no avail, hence calling on the new ministers to ensure that such problems are addressed.
Should be consultative, he should engage stakeholders at all times, he should have a listening ear and know what is prevailing on the ground personally, unlike just listening to technocrats. We are small-scale miners that are keen to awaken the sleeping giant in the gemstone sector, and we've been knocking on government door for a very long time. So we feel when they say the new broom sweeps better and cleaner, we are hoping that the new government will listen to us, because we've had ideas, we've had proposals, we've had all that it takes to have this sleeping giant be awakened. So we want to appeal to the new Minister of Mines and Minerals Development to immediately get to work. Start meeting people, start visiting companies, mining companies. So we want to say we will support him, we will help him, both the provincial minister and the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, to make sure that the gemstone sector is awakened and start contributing effectively to the treasures of the economy.
The Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia, BETUZ, says there is urgent need for the new government to put up deliberate policies aimed at addressing the high illiteracy levels in the country. According to the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, Zambia's literacy levels stand at about 55% of the population and are more pronounced in women than men. In an exclusive interview with Camnet News, BETUZ General Secretary Henry Sinkala states that illiteracy levels are most pronounced in rural areas, which can be attributed to factors such as the low teacher-pupil ratio in these areas. Zambia joins the rest of the world in commemorating International Literacy Day, which falls on the 8th of May every year, and highlights the need to fight illiteracy at all levels. More in this report.
Zambia has one of the highest levels of illiteracy in the Southern African Development Community SADC region and the world, as its levels of illiteracy stand at about 55% of the population, according to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Illiteracy levels in Zambia are also recorded to be more prominent among women than men and are more pronounced in rural setups. The Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia, BETUZ, says there is need to improve the learning environment in the country, especially in public schools, in order to encourage more people to attend school. Many public schools in the country face constraints such as the lack of infrastructure and stationery, among other needs. BETUZ General Secretary Mr. Henry Sinkala has also attributed the high levels of illiteracy in Zambia to the poor teacher-pupil ratio, especially in rural areas.
We as a sector, there is something that we must do about rural areas, because illiteracy levels are higher in rural areas than they are in urban areas. It simply points to the fact that maybe issues of staffing in rural areas, the teacher-pupil ratio, as well as distances from one school to the other could be impending issues in terms of attaining a world which is full of literate people.
He has also endorsed the appointment of Mr. Douglas Yakalima as Education Minister in the newly announced cabinet.
Issues of automatic migration. We have a number of teachers who have acquired higher qualifications, but they're not yet put into their appropriate science skills. We have more than 20,000 teachers who need to be reassessed and be put into their correct science skills. Issues of remote incentives are still real. We have teachers in remote areas who do not access rural hardship.
Zambia has joined the rest of the world in commemorating International Literacy Day, which falls on 8th September of every year. This day reminds governments around the world of the negative effects of illiteracy and the need to ensure that policies to reduce it are put in place. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Lusaka High Court Judge Mwape Wowa has recused himself from handling a case where former intelligence chief Xavier Chungu has sued the state for illegal detention. According to a memorandum from recusal, Judge Wowa states that there is a potential conflict of interest in the matter because he was involved in the investigations conducted by the task force when Mr. Chungu was arrested for corruption charges. This is in a matter in which the former Director General of the Office of the President Special Division, under the leadership of Zambia's second president, late Frederick Chiluba, has sued the state, demanding payment of $500,000 as compensation for his illegal detention. We have more in this report.
The case where former Zambia Security Intelligence Services Director General Xavier Chungu is demanding $500,000 United States dollars from the state as compensation for his legal detention will be on hold for a short period of time till a new judge takes up the case following the decision by High Court Judge Mwape Wowa to rescue himself from handling the case. Earlier this year, the former intelligence chief Chungu, who served under the administration of late President Frederick Chiluba, sued the state for unlawful detention and seizure of his properties, which happened about 19 years ago. In his submission before court, Mr. Chungu disclosed that on the 7th of January 2002 and various dates between 2002 and 15th August 2009, he was put under house arrest and also remanded in prison for a period of 34 months on allegation of theft of unspecified motor vehicles and theft by public servant. But in a turn of event, his case was allocated to Judge Wowa, who was involved in the investigations conducted by the task force on corruption charges against him. Now Judge Wowa has rescued himself from handling the case on the ground that he was heavily involved in the matter that Mr. Chungu was charged with because at the time he was the Director of Legal and Prosecution at the Anti-Corruption Commission. Hence, he has requested that another judge take up the case. In this case, Mr. Chungu wants a declaration that his detention without trial, as well as the forfeiture of his properties, was illegal. On the other hand, the state have dismissed each allegation that he has put up and state that the properties were legally seized and forfeited to the state after following all legal procedures. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A 17-year-old bus conductor of Lusaka's Lilanda Township has been taken to court for allegedly stealing 2.5 liters of cooking oil. In this matter, the juvenile offender stands charged with one count of theft, contrary to Section 272 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. Allegations are that on the 30th of August 2021, the juvenile offender stole 9 by 2.5 liters of cooking oil, the property of Cecilia Mwanza. The juvenile is expected to take plea before Magistrate Albert Mwaba. President Hakainde Hichilema has asked the Livingstone High Court to suspend the execution of writ issued against a Kalomo farmer, Mishek Hambalula, who had sued him over land. Mr. Hichilema, through his lawyer, Marshall Muchende, has submitted that Mr. Hambalula has apologized to him and has called on family to meet and resolve the issue amicably. Mr. Mishek Hambalula last year sued President Hichilema in Livingstone High Court, accusing him of having stolen Farm 3275 of Kalomo. But Mr. Hambalula lost the matter with the court in its judgment, stating that he had no legal authority to sue over the farm, where he is not the administrator but merely a beneficiary who was condemned to pay Mr. Hichilema 2 million kwacha. The U.S. government, through the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has provided an additional $6.7 million United States dollars, or 112 million kwacha, in COVID assistance for Zambia. USAID Zambia Mission Director Sherio Stambras says USAID will continue to work in partnership with the Zambia Ministry of Health, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and other health partners to boost access to oxygen supplies and essential medicines. She says the United States is working quickly to get safe and effective vaccines to as many people as possible, with the understanding that increasing global vaccination coverage is the best way out of this pandemic. Since the global outbreak of the pandemic, the United States, through multiple government agencies and initiatives, has provided more than 28 million United States dollars to fight COVID-19 in Zambia. We take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news after the break.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Camnet TV turns 5. We are excited to be the best community Christian TV channel within Zambia and across the world. With our programming for all age groups, talk of sermons, movies, kids programs, music, talk shows, developmental programs, and our unbiased, factual, and balanced news. To you, our viewers, we are saying thank you for being part of this journey. Happy 5th anniversary. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Welcome back. And in international news, Guinea's coup leaders have replaced regional governors with military officers and released political detainees after they deposed President Alpha Condé on Sunday. Coup leader Mamadou Doumbouya promised a new era for governance and economic development, but did not say when or how this would happen. The bloc of West African nations, or ECOWAS, will discuss the coup in Guinea in a virtual session. In other news, Zimbabwe has told its civil servants unwilling to get vaccinated to resign as it seeks to increase inoculations against COVID-19. The Southern African country has already made it mandatory for people to get vaccinated to go to markets, gyms and restaurants and university exams. Some private companies have also made it mandatory for their employees to be vaccinated. The measures have triggered indignation among some, but also clogged up the vaccination centers as people scramble to get a dose. Here's a roundup of international news.
Guinea's new military rulers are on a charm offensive to attract more public support. Momentum appears to be on their side, and cohesion seems to be growing among senior commanders about the coup that ended President Alpha Condé's 11-year rule. At local markets, business has picked up again after Sunday's takeover led by Lieutenant Colonel Mamadou Doumbouya, and there is optimism about the new rules.
We are very happy. We are praying for the new leaders. People have been through hard times. We've seen how inflation has eaten into our earnings. Many families have suffered under the previous government.
Mining, which accounts for most of Guinea's revenue, has resumed as air and land borders have reopened. Political commentators, though, believe faces from the past will dash hopes of change in a country where poverty is overwhelming despite vast mineral wealth.
These are people that we are serving in the General Lansana's government, and today they find themselves in the Alpha Condé's government, and they want to still find themselves in this Mamadi government. So I want to make a personal plea with him to be very careful, to be steadfast, to be very strong in resisting these people.
Still, Guinea's political opposition sees the coup as an opportunity for a fresh start. Much of the support for the military takeover comes from the opposition. There's a huge sense of relief here. The coup leaders have now released dozens of political detainees, and a security cordon put in place in opposition areas has been lifted. The next few days and weeks will be critical. On Wednesday, a virtual summit of the West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS is expected to lay the ground rules for the return to democracy.
We don't expect them to delay putting in place an inclusive transition government to take us out of this situation the coup leaders created, although they have corrected a situation that was not normal.
The fate of deposed President Alpha Condé isn't known. The United Nations, the African Union, and ECOWAS all want him released. Many hope Wednesday's ECOWAS summit will at least start a path back to democratic rule. But with their position consolidated for now, Guinea's new rulers may only be willing to make a few concessions. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Conakry.
Zimbabwe has told its civil servants unwilling to get vaccinated to resign as it seeks to increase inoculations against COVID-19. The Southern African country has already made it mandatory for people to get vaccinated to go to markets, gyms, restaurants, and to sit university exams. Some private companies have also made it mandatory for their employees to be vaccinated. The measures have triggered indignation among some, but also clogged up the vaccination centers as people scramble to get a dose. Zimbabwean Justice Minister Ziyambi told a local radio station that it was mandatory for government workers to get vaccinated to protect the general public, adding that employees opposed to the vaccine can resign. Zimbabwe has about 300,000 civil servants, including 100,000 teachers. 4.4 million people have received the first dose in the country, with 11% of the population fully vaccinated.
It's now time for sports news. FIFA's chief of global football development, Arsene Wenger, is a driving force behind plans to hold a World Cup finals every 2 years instead of 4. Some of the most famous former players and coaches in the game are meeting FIFA global head of football development, Arsene Wenger, in Qatar over the next 2 days to listen to his plans for the future of football. Wenger wants to change the international match calendar so that there are major tournaments every summer and fewer qualifying games during the year. Former England players John Terry and Michael Owen are among those who have been invited to Doha to meet Wenger as part of FIFA's consultation process. Although the proposals are set to be opposed by UEFA and clubs and players in Western Europe, they could prove to be popular in the rest of the world. 166 of FIFA's 211 member associations voted to carry out a feasibility study into the proposals first put forward in March by the Saudi Arabia Football Federation. All 211 FIFA members are likely to vote on the proposals before the end of the year, and if they are endorsed, the World Cup finals could be held every 2 years from the summer of 2028. That football note brings us to the end of the news, but we take a look at the top stories once again. A cabinet of few vulnerable citizens places HH on the microscope. A clergyman advises all those who offered false election promises or prophecies to publicly apologize. IT expert endorse formation of Ministry of Science and Technology. And in international news, Guinea coup makers name army governors, promise unity government. And in sports news, FIFA set to reveal more details on holding World Cup tournament every 2 years. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7 to 8. Each person should do as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or out of necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make every grace overflow to you, so that in every way, always having everything you need, you may excel in every good work. On that note, we come to the end of the news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching Camnet TV News. Bye-bye.